It was, though, the saga of the summer, wasn't it? But late last night, Liverpool confirmed the record transfer of Alexander Isak from Newcastle for a staggering £125 million. The move broke the previous record fee paid by Chelsea to Brighton for Moises Caicedo in 2023. The Sweden international will wear the number 9 shirt and has penned a 6-year deal at Anfield, with his debut potentially coming against Burnley on the 14th of September. This is what Isak had to say after his long-awaited move was finally confirmed.
I feel amazing. It's been a long journey, to get here. But I'm super happy to be a part of this team, this club, and everything it stands for. It's something I'm proud of, and I'm really looking forward to.
Well, most of the Newcastle squad did not acknowledge the striker's departure, with Isak also not posting a goodbye to Newcastle on social media. But one player did thank him. Anthony Gordon posted this tribute on Instagram. Regardless of the situation, he says, and what's gone on, it's been a pleasure to play with you. One of the best chemistries I've had on the pitch, and more importantly, a great person and teammate. I wish you nothing but the best, brother. The saga has not affected Isak's international career, as he trained with the Sweden squad today ahead of their games against Slovenia and Kosovo. Fellow Swedish striker Viktor Gyökeres spoke to us earlier today about the Isak transfer and how it's affected his international teammate.
Because you had a move yourself to a big club, at times a difficult move. Do you have some sympathy for what he's been through?
Yeah, as I said earlier about my situation, I think it can be the same, that you don't really know what's been going on behind, and so I don't really know in his case what the situation has been exactly. So it's difficult for me to speak about that.
In your case, in his case, and the case of Wisa, there's talk obviously of player power getting too important in the transfer market. Is that unfair to say that?
What do you mean?
Player power, like forcing moves.
I mean, we all play, and I think the clubs has the most power, and it's maybe difficult for the players to choose in a lot of cases, and when it's a player that's not wanted in a club, I think it's the total opposite, and he doesn't have any power, and the club can literally do whatever they want with the players. So it's difficult, but it's how the situation is.
Back in the day, I can remember teammates being made to train with the reserves or the youth team for months on end. They could be bullied. Obviously, that can't happen now, which is a good thing. But at the end of the day, you have to say the clubs still hold some of the cards, at least in terms of if the player's under contract, and they can just say, no, you're not going anywhere. It's happened before. Think of Harry Kane. He didn't down tools, but Luis Suarez, those Spurs and Liverpool kind of stood firm and allowed the players to leave when they wanted them to leave. I think with the money, player power has increased and maybe will continue to increase.
Jamie Carragher believes Isak will be a big boost for Liverpool's title hopes this season, but admits the pressure on the champions to defend their title has increased after their busy summer in the transfer market.
I think there might be a slight change from last season. If you think a lot of the time last season, Liverpool didn't play with a striker. Luis Diaz played as like what they call a false nine alongside Szoboszlai, really. But Isak can drop deep, he can move to the left, but he is a guy who leads the line, and he's always looking to get in behind the opposition and score goals. And it's interesting, I always feel when you have two goal scorers in an attack in terms of Mo Salah and Isak, and normally a team will have one goal scorer and everyone sort of facilitates that player, but I think they'd both be desperate to get onto the score sheet as often as possible. So I'm interested to see how that dynamic works, having two goal scorers in the same front line. I was maybe one Liverpool supporter who wasn't all in on spending 140, 150 million on Isak. I look at spending 80 million on Ekitike. That's a lot of money to spend for an attacking player who is going to be back up, and that's what he will be right now. I know there's different games, and people will get games at different places, but when you spend 125 million on a player, you break the transfer record, he's that good a quality, you want him on the pitch 9 times out of 10, especially in the games that matter, which are the Premier League games and the Champions League games. So if that's the case, I think Ekitike for now will have to, accept coming off the bench, trying to change games, maybe play when Isak's injured, maybe play to the left sometimes, but that's not his perfect position. His position is down the middle. But you do need a squad of players. You look at the bench of Manchester City. I think in the first week of the season, Marmoush, who played alongside Ekitike at Eintracht Frankfurt, he was on the bench. So I think Ekitike will probably play half the games, and Isak will probably look to play 75% of the games in his position, and Ekitike will have to find games in different positions. Yeah.
And every fan base would be thinking, you can't do that to my club. Don't disrespect my club. And that's obviously the way it's come about. And yes, they both could say, we could have acted in different ways, but maybe that was the ways they was told to act and how to force a move through. And look, they both got the wishes. Isak moved to Liverpool and Jan Wissa moved to Newcastle. So they're the winners in this. I've said this for the past 2-3 weeks. This is the problem now. This is the presidents, they've said it. That's why I thought Newcastle, all the football clubs would hope in Newcastle stood firm and it wouldn't go through, because now it sets up, especially with the Mark Gahey situation not going through, right? We'll come on to that later. But these two pushing the way they did, they disrespected the football clubs and got their moves. So now players are going to be looking at it like, well, I'll just copy them. I'll copy it. And this is not just Premier League players, by the way. This is down the football pyramid. I'll just copy them. They got their move, refused to play. And look, they've gone on to bigger and better things. And that is it. That is the way it is also. And people hear that bigger and better things. Well, Newcastle to Liverpool is an upgrade, and Brentford to Newcastle is an upgrade. So they're only pushing on in their careers.
So the pundits are impressed, but what about the fans? Well, Liverpool supporters this afternoon have been reacting to Isak's arrival, and we managed to speak to a few of them outside Anfield.
Good signing though. I think he should do well there, but I hope he does. I hope he's not like Hazard going to Madrid and not doing very well there. I hope he's good at Newcastle and then even better at Liverpool.
Very happy. It'll make a hell of a difference to our attacking force this year. Good signing. A lot of money, but I think he'll do the job.
Liverpool's squad is like second to none now, isn't it? I think it leaves everyone chasing them in the distance. I think
more attacking, and I don't know. We're a better team than Newcastle on paper, so hopefully it'll give him more chance to score more goals and help the rest of the team. Yeah.
Over the moon, the best thing you could ever have. I tell you what, he's fantastic. And I was jumping for joy yesterday. And when we didn't get the Palace boy, I thought it's going to happen in January. He'll come to us. I'll tell him straight when I see him. I'm a massive Liverpool fan, and they're great. No, you can't beat him.
Amazing. Obviously, he'll bring in some depths. Just hope his sportsmanship and playership, and one for the team, because obviously he left Newcastle. Bit of a shame for Newcastle, but what a signing for Liverpool.
I put on the socials last night that I thought it was a statement of few words for a man of few morals. I still stand by that. What I said last night, I stand by it this morning. I believe he's acted disgracefully this summer. He's only halfway through a 6-year contract. Now, this situation might have been different if it was, 2 years remaining or particularly 1 year, but he's only halfway through. And there seems to be this divine right coming from himself, his agent, and essentially Liverpool fans that you have to let him go.
The contract only determines the value of the footballer. It's as simple as that. So the fact that he had 3 years left on his deal meant that Liverpool had to pay 125 million. If he had 2 years left, it would be 100 million. If it was 1 year, it'd be 50 million. That's the naivety of some of these comments that are being made, is that if you didn't have a contract for that length, you wouldn't get the value for the player. But also, if players didn't move with years left on the contract, you wouldn't have transfers. Everyone would just leave on a free transfer.